Alright, we are back. Did an internet speed test, restarted the computer and everything. Hopefully that helps. Um, hmm. So let's see. Alright. So, hopefully that helps. Turned all the other devices, internet connections off and all that good stuff. So, kind of jumped over to this page where we got Makim being kind of thrown the boulder and everything. And I don't think I'm going to do too much. I think I like the way it looks right now. So I'm not going to add too much. Kind of want to just make sure that, you know, the things that I want to keep in focus stay in focus as far as storytelling goes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this whole entire, well, not that per se, but open up all of this stuff here so I can go ahead and get all this stuff ready for what needs to be done to it. So I have our line work here, and turn that line work blue. I'm going to open up the other page as well. Just going to go ahead and import. Import page 9 into this. For some reason it always opens up with this little tone filter joint on. I don't know why, but luckily it's just, you just click a button and it turns off. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one here where it's supposed to be. And that's actually how it's supposed to be. Right there. Except, wait, this is supposed to be here. Yeah. Something feels off. Let's bring this up a bit. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. So this would. Oh, okay. I wanted that to go there. I just added that border. I just added that border around that top panel to make it easier to like tone and stuff like that. Okay. So I have to make this a tad bit smaller. Yeah, that's basically how I want it to be. Cool. Go ahead and rasterize it. Turn that blue. And I'm probably going to chop off this part on the side because we're already on the bleed. We're already showing that. So I'm going to go ahead and go downward, run this right layer here, crop that part off completely. Nice. Yeah, I definitely think the art got better and better as I went along. I definitely went through and added in the backgrounds where I thought I needed them at the end and all that good stuff. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is just the character art. So I'm going to go ahead and make a folder for the tone there, and I'm going to keep this folder below the line work. Actually, no, I'm dropping that gun. Gotta actually clean the line art. this above here. Gonna do the little thing we usually do. Gonna take the brightness, convert the brightness to opacity. Same thing here, do that at the same time. Cool. Now we're just left with our line work. Go ahead and do the border effect. It doesn't really matter what color it is. And make that a little bigger so we can see what we're getting rid of. The dustpan. Okay, wrong one. There we go. It's at 40. That's just fine. And try to do this as quickly as possible. Hope you guys are having a good one. Good day today. My day's been pretty cool. Didn't do anything too out of the norm. The usual homeschooling, a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of creating, cooking some food and making sure the family was cool. Then I got to do a little bit of practice before I got to work on the pages for today. Thing I usually try to do other than just cleaning my art is like I'll sometimes wipe down like the screen on the scanner because sometimes debris gets on there too, so like you might not see it or notice that it's there, but it is. And sometimes these little specks end up being from your scanner. And the worst part is, they're not going to leave until you clean it. So you have to actually clean it. So I've already actually done that. So I know this is probably left by, like my scanner just picking up stuff that I left from when I made marks on that paper. So, but there would be way more if my scanner glass was actually dirty. About done with this one. Alright, cool. That is done. You can go over here and work on this one. remember when I used to draw really small characters and I would put like a line for the nose or the nostril. Now I can do this technique and get right rid of that line. Like, wait, didn't I have a line there? It's like, nope, not anymore. Okay, that's fine. So anything around here I need to get rid of. Yep. So I'm always just checking to make sure that I'm getting rid of things that are very much unintentional, like something that wasn't supposed to be there. And I definitely have to check with these like explosion effects because sometimes I do add little uh, stippling and stuff like that, little lines to add to that explosion effect. But as you guys probably have seen after me turning on and off this effect, a lot of that isn't there. Some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. So it's relatively clean, I would say. So it's just a little bit of them, a little bit of lines. Always gotta be super careful around the face. And definitely against smaller drawings with smaller amounts of detail that are actually on them. Cool. It's about done. Hey, how's it going, Tavon? Alright, we're gonna grab that. Starting to kind of look a lot more clean already. You see, what does this look like? Yeah, it's not there. What about here? Okay, so all those are actually there. I can see them. What about this? Clean the hair. Some things are stuck to the hair already. That's fine. This is relatively clean. Good. Alright, this means that everything we select now will be a lot easier to select. Beautiful sounds of Baltimore going past. I thought there wasn't going to be a stream tonight. Oh, yeah, I've had some difficulties honestly with the stream quality and the data and stuff. So I had to restart a bunch of time. But yeah, there's a stream. I didn't do any advertising or anything like that for it. Um, I'm going to start doing more of that later. Recently, I've been just like working on other things before stream to try to kind of be in shape for stream. And I don't know, sometimes advertising is a bit tedious, but I'm gonna start doing that even more so that people know. Okay, so both our line work is clean, rasterized, and the opacity or the brightness has been turned to the opacity, which means all we have left is our line work now on the page, which is great. It's all cleaned up and ready to be toned and put values on and all that good stuff. Cool. So I'll go ahead and make a new folder. And this is where I'm going to put all my values. I'm going to make sure it's underneath my layers that have line work. Okay, it's in there. Okay. And we already have our values right here. Gonna use this joint right here. Start grabbing some color. The color picker. Let's do this quickly. Gonna fill in this guy's hair. Eyebrows. I just don't get that shoe part here and here. Here and here. That's the ear right there, so I'll leave that alone. I guess I'll also do the scar. And obviously I'm going to go back and, add more. Just, it's like a quick giant brush laying down some things. Alright, so skin tone. Almost like that effect that was left over just now. I'll leave it alone. And I'll come back with the lasso tool to finish some of that off. Skin tone again. Supposed to be an ear. Alright, so far so good. Let's go back over here, see if there's anything else we need to fix up, which we already know there is. This is the mapping pen. We want to use the Rail G pen. Nice. Alright. So we got that. I'm gonna add that here. Wow, I actually didn't get that. Another cool thing that I can do is once I get all this stuff in here, actually show you guys something. Wait, there was one on the other side, wasn't it? It's filled in something. There it is. Alright, see this guy's arm here? What I could do is I could just I can select this. Well, what I'm trying to do, right, is fill this area without having to necessarily go over it with like a pen and like get these little lines that, I don't know if you see that, but this is little lines that I missed. Just selecting it in there because that area isn't as clean as it could be. And I guess the computer couldn't pick that up when I was cleaning the arm, so it just kind of left it. That's fine. I think what we can do is, what is this? Right click this layer, go to create selection. Now we have all that there. What we want to do is expand the selected area by a certain amount of pixels. So you can expand it by like 2 pixels. And now it has that whole area kind of filled in. You just click the bucket tool to fill it, and boom, we got it. Alright, don't even have to go in and like once you know it's possible to miss that, you can just go ahead and do that, and it'll fill in that area for you. Stuff like this, though, I can just easily just, fill in. Alright, we got most of that. Now I want to use like a softer airbrush thingy here. See what that looks like. So it looks like if we're using that. We're gonna make it smaller. Alright. Same thing on this side. Alright, that looks fine. We gotta fill this stuff in as well. Alright, so I know the ones that I did with pencil here, they can read about a bit more clearly. So I definitely think I'm going to like grab this right here, which is like a toom sound effect, right? And grab it. I'm gonna overlap it with another version of itself. I'm gonna duplicate it basically. And I'm gonna clean it up. That way it reads better, like letter wise. So you can tell which letters I'm using to create that onomatopoeia. Alright, let's see what else we got. We get everything that we're supposed to get with characters. Everything except for some of the things that are supposed to be on Samara. I have two ways that I can do this. I can just fill this area in completely and then erase out, or I can just take a brush and try to make these certain straight lines and stuff. Sometimes I choose. I just kind of jump around. I do one or the other. Actually, I don't like that. Let's see again. What I like to do is kind of add some three-dimensionality to it by just going like, okay, this one's further back in space, so we could possibly have a, how do I explain it? Like one's like in a different area, so they wouldn't have the same shadows and lighting because this object is getting hit differently because it has a different relationship to light. if that makes any sense. And I still don't like this pattern, but I'm going to keep going at it. Because it's not, you know, it's not really bothersome to do. It's all about, like, does it read well from afar anyway, you know? You know, up close it didn't really look like much, but I always got to check from afar, because, you know, this stuff is basically going to be read on phones and in a book. And the book is going to be printed, you know, a lot smaller than this. The actual size of this page, if I press this at 100%, this is like what that looks like, right? You can kind of see the little imperfections here and there, right? Little overlaps here and there. But the good part is a lot of it is neat and well put together enough for when you get around 50 to about 25% away from it, it still looks like what it's supposed to look like. And that's important. Instead of worrying about all the details, just make sure you get the right details. Right, so we got the shoe, got all that stuff on my cane, got his scar on his hand. So I'm going to go back over here on this side. And I feel like this should have a light feel to it, except for that bottom panel to some degree. So we should have some excitement in the first panel and then in the bottom panel. So what are we going to do? I know I'm going to add some sort of speed lines in this first panel. Okay, this could be fun. Let's see. Let's try to do something real quick. Hey, how's it going, Tony? Trying to figure out a look for this this page. I have an idea. I'm going to try and execute it. What? Cardi, please. Don't jump on me. My cat is clawing at my leg, and I'm like, please, let me draw. So I think we're gonna do, well, what I want to do first. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this joint to a background layer because I don't know why I did this in this folder, but that's not a big deal. Also, change the color. I'm gonna actually make the color purple, right? And make a new one, new layer. It's gonna be for the background. And make it green. But man, I want to check out the stream again. Hey, awesome. Yeah, I had some difficulties today. Are you good? Okay. All right. I'm gonna work even though you're sitting there. But yeah, I had some difficulties today. My stream dropped like twice, but I wanted to come back through and do it anyway. Get some stuff out there for people to check out. What am I looking for? Okay, so we're gonna do this blue sky joint, except it's not gonna be blue. obviously. This is search and shift. Alright, so now I can see exactly how much is even highlighted here. You can see how much basically I actually got with that magic wand tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the stuff that I didn't get real quick. Add this to the selection. Funny thing is, yeah, okay, I can do that. What I should do is just go ahead and fill, right? Yeah. So I didn't get here. Underneath of him doesn't actually need to be done. I can keep that majority white, but I could also play with an effect. Depends on what I'm going for completely. But I'll actually get underneath him as well. These things here I'll leave alone. Alright, so did I get the one down here? I didn't. Fill. Got it. Alright, so everything else I'm not really worried about. I kind of got the selection I wanted. Cool. Might as well get this as well then. Anything else? No. Alright, now fill that in. And then I'm going to try and go ahead and use actually, I'm going to turn the layer off. Go ahead and do it. New layer. That way I can select the whole area even after I do gradation. What I learned is when you do gradation on an area, once that area gets close to white, you can't really select that whole area of that effect, because any part of that effect you do that becomes white, it's not selectable anymore. So what I do now is just I'll leave a layer that has all the things that I wanted to select before I do the whole effect, before I do the gradation and stuff. And even if I like even if certain parts do become white in that effect, I still have the layer below it, or the layer before I did the effect, that has the whole entire shape of the area of effect that I was going to do. So I can always come back and select that whole thing like that. So go ahead and do this. So let's see, we want this to, I'm going to actually just experiment real quick. What do we see? Obviously the wrong thing, because it's not supposed to be that dark. Gray. Didn't put it on gray. Alright, so let's see what we got. Okay, can this work? This could work. Yeah, that could work. Let's try again. So, if I bring it down this far, how does that look? That's also cool. Trying to think. If I do it there, the boulder is relatively going to be a light object, right? This will show up well. It'll be fine. I think it should be darker overall, but I think I'm on the right track. So I don't need to necessarily pick that all completely up and undo. I need to bring it down further. No, is this the way I want to go? Yeah, I think this is the way I want to go. Alright, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm trying to go through here and select all the things that I want to just be white. See how that'll go. So we get our word bubble back here. So that's good. And everything else I'll probably be using just tools to kind of like erase out and stuff like that. Overall his shape is like decent. You can read it well. The line work should be on top, right? Yes. So this might take a little long. but it's gonna look nice when it's done. So I'm gonna make sure that this area here is gonna be soft behind them, like soft erases out using like the what is this called? The airbrush tool, and the stuff with the harder shadows is gonna be basically like the character art and stuff like that. I'm just looking around trying to formulate an idea of what this is gonna look like in the end. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and get started. Erase out this boulder. Get down. No, get down. Hard eraser. Can't do that. Oh wait, actually, what I would do is I wouldn't use a hard eraser on this. I would use a soft eraser because it's where it has been already. So I'm not. You'll see it, but it'll also be just like, you know, like an after image type thing. I forget what the name of the technique actually is. Excuse me. I forget what the name of the technique actually is, but it's usually when you have multiple images of motion, and you want to kind of tell the reader that, hey, this is not where this object is now, it's where it was, type thing. I'm sure there's a simpler way of saying it, but I don't remember how to say it the right way. Motion blur? Hmm. That's another way to actually like achieve it. Yeah. It's basically like that. It's definitely another way to achieve it. My brain is like, we don't remember that, sir. You're gonna have to try that one again. So I'm gonna darken it just a bit. Same thing here. So we've got like our, I keep calling things like hit sparks because I'm using like fighting game stuff in my head. But it's basically like this point of contact, this point of impact on his hand, where he kind of throws his arm out. That right there is going to be, uh, you know, nice and clear, so you can see it's stands out graphically essentially. Even though I'm not using like black and white here, it stands out. Got a dark area, got a light area. You're gonna look to contrast. are we looking like? Not bad. Whoa, that's 100. Go back to, what is this called? The airbrush tool. Make it smaller. I'm gonna put like a shadow even underneath of that. Just kind of lock in that that contrast there. So even the hit spark has like its own shadow. Go back to the pen tool so it'll be a darker value somewhat. Zoom out. Alright, we got some decent depth there. All I have to do is go behind it and add the speed lines that I want to be there, and we kind of get what we were going for. Have to do the same thing over here with the hand, but since everything's going to be soft, it's not as big of a deal here. Alright, now I can do a lot more here. And even go, oh crap, did I actually forget something? No, I didn't. That's just, yes, I did. Alright, this isn't that hard to fix. So, we're going to go to objects, no, layer selection. Now we're there. What I'm going to do is grab this here, which would be here. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that in with like a pen, somewhat. So for right now, this works. But because it gradates, I'm going to just keep on sampling. Actually, before I do that, let me grab this other area. It's just peeking out here. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing, going downward. Alright. Cool. Now hopefully it doesn't look noticeable. Alright, so let's go back to our usual value range. Let's go ahead and grab this color. We're going to put, what would this be? A little oval here. And we're also going to put a softer value of it there. Wait a minute, am I on the right layer? Make sure. Should be actually on the right layer, but I don't think I am. Let's see. Does this disappear? It does, right, because I was going to paint on this layer anyway. So it's fine, redo. Should definitely have buttons set up for this. I relatively do, but also I haven't used this pad thing for a while, so I don't remember all the keys I set up, unfortunately. So we're gonna mostly have the shadows again near the bottom. Just kind of play with that. Give it a bunch of little value here and there. I'm also gonna go a little darker, so I'm gonna grab this color here. And I'm going to take it and put it closer like that. What does it look like from further away? Cool. And that means I can also put, which I should have done before I switched to the other color, lighter value on his arm. That way, as it's coming toward us, even that part, just like what I did with the line work there, has a little bit of depth to it. Cool. What I usually do is grab this and go ahead and do this softly around and erase out. So let's see how that'll work. What I want to kind of achieve is like, okay, this guy is obviously wearing white. So what I'm going to do is erase just a bit out. That way a little bit of that value is still there, but also like you can kind of tell that it's like smoke or dust being like flung upward. Hey, how's it going? She says, hey, with 3 Y's. When they made that group art, was it based on your comic? Oh, it definitely was a reference to the comic. Yeah. So I'm trying to like make sure that even though I'm adding this lighter value here, that it's not gonna stick out too hard. Trying to make sure you stay looking at what I want you to look at, which is what's going on with the boulder. But I still am adding a little bit of detail here and there when it comes to like extra effects and stuff like that. This is what I'm trying to do, right? Trying to. I'm gonna try and do it, and I'm obviously gonna go back and make sure that I hit a certain, mark and everything. I've definitely done this effect before several times at this point, but I never was able to give Makim a moment like this, so this is pretty fun. Awesome. If anyone is checking out this video, I'm reading the chat about what's going on in the chat. That's what I'm saying awesome to. Now, I usually say, don't worry about like certain details when you're working, uh, unless it's an intentional type thing. And I'm trying to intentionally do it this time. Trying to actually put in a certain amount of work into it, but I'm not trying to, again, make this into some sort of painting. But I guess technically it would be a value painting, if anything. Trying to like balance out how much stuff I'm going to put into everything. Yes. Yes, it is. It's like a dust cloud that I'm making. It's, yeah. What I'm trying to do is say, this boulder, even though he was able to, put it on his arm and, have it roll around like that, it still was moving at such speed, that it just going around his arm created that dust cloud, that you see at the bottom. It also created a lot of the motion that you see on his outfit, just by doing that. Part of me wonders if this is even okay to like have on stream this long. Cause I'm like, yeah, this is, I don't do Murata level, stuff, but some things I do try to get close to it, and this is one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, this is gonna take a little bit, to like get it balanced out the way I want it to be. But I guess this can make for some cool content for people to check out. It's also one of my favorite pages that I drew in general. So I'll come back to these little ones here. Actually, I kind of just want to fade them out a little bit more. Even though they come up a little bit, I'm like, like what, how would that look? Let's see. That just, right, and that's a lighter value there. Okay. And it still works. I can still get away with it. The lasso fill tool, man, it's amazing. It's a really nice tool. Oh, I can also cheat a little bit here. How will I do that? Okay, so what I can also do is start up a darker value. Let me see here. I could just grab that. Alright, I'm gonna grab this. I don't actually need to, so what I'm gonna do is just check, right? We're working digitally. not completely, you know, but gives us options to kind of play around and check with things, right? So this is, again, our layer that has all of our selection on it. So go ahead and select it again so we can stay in the lines we want to be in. Go back to the layer we're actually painting on. Make sure we're on that layer. Grab the tool you want to use, and we know we're going to stay within the lines. So now that we're closer to the ground level, I was like, wouldn't it be also cool if I could like indicate that some type of way, just a little bit? And you can do that. It gets darker near the bottom, which I feel like gives it a feeling to it, like it's like something's about to happen. As things are darker up top, and then they also start to get darker near the bottom, it kind of makes that a moment, and then also we go right into what's happening in the next panel, you know. So I actually think that might look cool. I actually think it's a little overdone. Let's see, let's undo a little bit because I did add a few times. Try again. Might have to be a little smaller. Doesn't even have to be that noticeable. Just a bit. Yeah, that's not too bad. And the good thing is, the layer it's on, I could always lighten everything up. Could always just change the opacity a bit. It's not necessarily a bad idea. Just have to play with the values the right way. Let's go back to the previous values. Just gonna put a little bit of a shadow underneath his hand. Yeah, that could also make his hand stick out a little bit. Nice. Alright, so before I get stuck on that page and working on that forever, I'm going to jump over to this page, right? So we're going literally, you know, out of the darkness and into the light a bit here, you know. I'm going to play with that a bit. To kind of keep your eye focused, I can also do the same type of thing with this paneling. So, thinking of, oh look, it shows that one of my panels isn't really lined up as well as it could be. But hopefully that's not too distracting. Did I try to do that with this one? Let me check. So, once you notice something like that, all you gotta do is grab all the layers that are on your artwork on that side. Nothing else. Alright, nothing else. And just go ahead and go to transform, scale, and now you can grab everything and kind of move it. So I noticed that it's a little bit crooked here. Weird, why can't I turn it? Am I looking at it odd? That's interesting. Usually that works. Okay. So what's happening is I think this side is a bit higher. So what I'm going to do is just move it slightly over. And I wonder what that looks like. Sometimes instead of using a grid, I'll just take it to the edge of this border going around the program and just use that to measure it out and be like, is that straight? That's almost there. That's not so bad. I'm not too worried about that too much. I'm gonna actually bring it back just a little bit. Yeah, I think that's just actually fine. Okay, yeah, I got an idea about how I want to do this now. It's always about like what's gonna happen on the last panel sometimes for me anyway. Yeah, that's not supposed to be on. Okay, this is that layer. Guess I'll make another green layer. And now I'm gonna start playing with this, where we're going to make this darker as well. You know, like in video games when someone does like a special attack and like the whole screen gets dark, I imagine it's similar to that, but more so it's like noticeable danger, right? Like heightened senses. So that's what I want to make into like clear view right now. So since everything right here, I want you to pay attention to this joint coming towards his head. I probably want to have things below darker than light. So let's see what that looks like. Kind of looks like that. Okay. And we can play with that a little bit. $60 might be just fine for it, for that effect. And then all I have to do is go ahead and erase out or select out certain things. And that's not what I meant. Let's go ahead and start anyway with the pen tool. And the pen tool is too chunky. Yay, that was easy. Right, so we got our hard, what would you call this? A hard brush tool. And we're going to use a light one so that we can showcase the direction that it's going. So again, just do something like that. What does it look like from afar? Fine. And right into this. Play around with the lighting right here, like the debris coming off. You can also add like some sort of dust particles and whatnot. But I'm going to mainly keep this part light here and have it trail off into like being not so bright or contrasty. I think that's cool. And I can even, might be too big, I could even do something like this, where it's coming out of the darkness into the light, into view essentially. That might make it look a little bit extra dangerous. For this panel, I think that I'm not going to have this effect at all, like this lighting here. Right? So we can literally follow the light sources in a way. Got the, you know, going from here to here and around, which I'm going to fix all this. I know it's a little bit hard to see at this point, so I'm probably going to play around with it until I get that the way I need it to be. And go from there to that bottom panel, moving over, go here from the light, get the bounce. Right? Gonna be playing around with all this stuff to try and balance all of it out. And then here we're gonna be in the light kinda with like some good old speed lines here. Kind of stabilize this, and then we're gonna go back into the darkness where Samar is talking. You know, I think that would be pretty freaking cool. I think the main thing I'm thinking about is just like trying to make sure I don't go too dark, right? Because you can always do that. You can always end up going too dark. Then it feels like you're overdoing things. Alright, so in this section, this is at 60, so we can't use that anymore. We needed something to, all these basically have their own effects and stuff like that. So this could actually literally be, you know, black or something. Honestly, could just do that. Kind of has a nice feeling to it. But also say the shoulder part that she's hanging on to is also black, so I could get away with, some stuff there graphically. I'm just quickly trying to block off this area so I can fill in this shape if it looks odd. What is that? Oh, okay. I know what that is. Alright, yeah, I could get away with that. Looks a little odd, even though it doesn't matter because a good portion of it is going to be cut off because of the bleed and everything when it comes to printing this stuff. But just for stream, I'm gonna try and just try to make it look a little better, aesthetically and all that. Alright, kinda, right? It looks odd, but it's okay. Liking the way it's turning out. I think both of them look fun. Still have to figure out how to balance the stuff on the first page. I'm not too worried. I've done stuff like it before. I'm just trying to make sure I don't put too many elements that don't need to be there in it. So that's why I'm kind of jumping over to the next page right now. It doesn't need to be like a rush job. I actually feel like it's going to be pretty fun just to work through. So I'm like, alright, I'll come back to that. This page over here isn't as demanding, I would say. Interesting. That not get erased. Okay. Cool. So now all I would do is, I already know that I'm going to add, like I said, some action lines here, some speed lines. So I'm just going to emphasize the effect that's right here with a gray, and I'm probably going to pick this secondary gray. I said secondary gray, the second value that I have right here on the paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the, well, for right now I'll start off with the bucket tool. I guess that gets most of that in there. Yeah, it does. I was just going to use the polygonal lasso tool, or the polygonal, whichever speech one you use, however you say it. I don't actually know what the real version is, but say it either or. I noticed the settings on it's kind of wonky. Well, my settings on it's a fine tool, honestly. It does the job just fine. Got the outline already by hand. And we already drew through it. Shows that it's transparent. What are we looking like? Cool. Getting somewhere with these things looking a lot more completed. This is here. this is here. Okay, so for this one, what we need to do is go ahead and establish the ground shadow a little bit more, and also the what is it called? The trail line. Just gonna go ahead and do that. I think I'm gonna use a hard brush for it, mainly closer to the center. Okay, and I'll definitely have like some. Actually, don't I have a brush specifically for that? Let me see here. What do you do again? Wait, let me make this a little bit bigger. No, that's a texture brush. I have a brush that basically has a bunch of lines on it. I may have moved it to a different place. But I thought it would be here. Let's see, this is the wrong brush. This is the, unless this actually only works a certain way, where you have to have it on monochrome. Not the brush, but a really interesting brush. I wonder where I placed it. I don't think it's a pattern brush. Similar to that though, that one. I honestly do forget where it is. That's okay. What I was going to do is just give an example of what I was going to add to it. But essentially I know that this panel up here would just have some speed lines coming from the side. Kinda. It'd be kind of like this. It would just only be around this area to kind of give you like a start to like, okay, pay attention to what's going on here. And as it goes here, obviously it slows down since the speed lines don't go all the way across, right? If the speed lines go all the way across, then what you would have something like that. But I wanted to make it slow down more. So I already have it where the speed lines are here. This joint goes around here, slows down because we know it bounced, right? We know that it bounced because it has this arc, goes into the ground, and then we're like, okay, at least it didn't hit him. It didn't fly towards him like, you know, when Halo hit the boulder. And then we can clearly see going down here. No, it did bounce. It actually bounced. Now it's heading towards the character. So that's what I'm gonna add there. I'm also playing around with like reveals and stuff, right? We are over here and you can't see Halo's face or his expression. You get here, you still can't see his face or his expression. And his arms are also in his cloak. And then, boom, we see his eyes are revealed and we see his eyes are revealed and his arms come out to grab this, you know. Yeah, comics are awesome. I love comics. But actually, I feel like this. How long have I been streaming, actually? Let me see here. I actually do not know. It's only been an hour and 23 minutes. I know I failed at streaming the previous two times. But yeah, let's see here. I think this is a good place to stop, actually, though. Getting a little bit hungry. I made some decent progress. The next page coming up is a pretty cool one. It's a whole entire splash page. And then we have the next page after that is like 3 panels. So we'll probably be able to do both of those together tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. Nice. And then we'll actually make some pretty decent progress, I would say. Because I'm definitely going to work on this a little bit off stream. And I'll come back to it and talk about it with everyone tomorrow. We can talk about the previous pages as well. I still haven't completely finished up on them as far as like what they look like and everything. Still like, you know, I like them. A lot of them look decent to me, but I'm always like, okay, I can rebalance that just a little bit. I'm not gonna overwork it. Just gonna rebalance it to make it even better to like look at for long periods of time, or just to see exactly what I want you to look at to get you to the next panel type thing. So, yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream soon, guys. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, or I don't know, talk about anything, talk about it. Yeah, I will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Hopefully the internet is working a lot better then, because today was a bit interesting. It failed on me twice, so I had to restart, you know, several times and all the good stuff, but we still got to touch on a bunch of pages and work through them and stuff like that. Hope to get a little bit further tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Everyone have a good rest of your night.